Hello, this is the second session of our 7th week of the course on Marketing Management Part 2, and we are discussing marketing channels, distribution, retail marketing, merchandising, category management, and the last topic in this category today is this topic of choosing the retail location and layout. So, it is an interesting topic. There are various angles to it, and let us go through that one by one. So, first is choosing a particular location, the right region in the country, in India, western, eastern, southern, northern, then within that region which state, and right city in that state, the right site within that city. So, these are all the different decisions that we have to take with respect to choosing a particular location for a retail outlet. So, what are to choose a right region, the sources of information will be the demographics, the different types of surveys published by our applied economic research councils and different other government bodies. We will get from market research report different types of lifestyle based market analysis, how say for example, the young people, their shopping patterns are changing in Bombay, or how the middle aged middle income customers in Kolkata are shopping for food items. These kind of different market research reports become available, and those are to be studied to decide upon this store location. So, at the regional level, therefore, we will be looking at this overall demographics of the region, lifestyle market analysis, survey of the buying power in the region. So, the buying power, we know that in certain parts of southern region will be much higher than certain parts of northern region. And these days, quite interestingly, we can combine technology like geographic information system. So, on a computerized map, our program can give us the depiction of the key points from our database analysis with respect to income pattern, consumption pattern of different items or our chosen categories. And so, we can basically combine the search through databases with this map based geographical information system, and that has given us a very powerful visual display system to quickly decide about retail location, distribution strategy, merchandising, category management strategy, and so on. And sometimes something that would have not been so evident by going through paper data has now become far more revealing by looking at this visual data, where the whole region map will be in front of us, all the cities will be shown, and these different consumption patterns will be shown, and on that you can superimpose your warehouse locations, and from there you can easily see that where are the gaps, and you can look at, you can even compare with your competitive retailers locations, and that can give you a good idea about how to which cities you will go for. So, choosing the city will depend on population trends, competition level, clustering of other retail outlets, and compatibility with culture. This is interesting, and local laws and regulations. For example, as opposed to Delhi, in UP, even though they are adjacent, many areas of national capital region are actually part of UP, and laws are different, and even cultures are different in Delhi as opposed to UP, and the social political regulations do not allow some large retailers in particularly retailing in say fresh vegetables and groceries, for a long time they were not allowed to operate because of the political pressure exerted by the small and medium size local stores. So, all these will have to be considered when choosing the city for your store location, retail outlet location. Of course, you will also have to see all the supply chain and delivery chain sites. So, transportation networks, protection, cost of utilities and real estate, and cost of public services like whether transportation service and various other kinds of utility as well as other public services will have to be looked at to decide the city and within the city the location. And some cities have much higher demand for certain types of lifestyle items, and those will have to be all factored in. So, let us look at this, that retail and service location considerations. So, now there are areas where sudden spurt of development creating lot of high rise buildings. So, high rise buildings, these 23 floors, 20 floor, 30 floor apartment blocks, they represent a huge concentration of certain types of consumers. So, they are very good pattern for targeted retailing. So, like in Kolkata, New Godia, where around the new metro station and the new railway station vicinity, lot of new high rise buildings for middle income group and high income group are coming up. Obviously, that creates a big opportunity for setting up big retail outlets. So, you can now go there and find Big Bazaar, Spencer's, they have all set up big footprints to serve this new community. So, in a way this particular area in Kolkata from between say New Godia and the Ruby Hospital, in that whole area there are large number of corporate hospitals and a large number of high rise building complexes. So, retailing of food, beverage and other grocery and other day to day items compete with the retailing of medicines and other healthcare items, and very large retail formats have come up in these areas. Similarly, say for example, in Hyderabad in Gachibowli area, where there are many large corporate offices, lot of new residences, lot of new institutions which have come up, then the big retail outlets are coming up there. And if you visit these retail outlets, you will often find that the stocking pattern, the category management strategies are quite different from say that in a place like Kanpur. So, many high end items, many imported items, many variety of packaged food items will be available in this kind of places. So, of course, we will have to always look at the degree of competition. So, there is in this area which I was talking about near New Godia, Ruby Hospital, that area, there is Metro Cash and Carry, there is a big format, Big Bazaar, there is Spencer, multiple outlets of Spencer. So, if a new retail chain wants to enter into this area, they have to evaluate that whether because of the existing competition there is enough space for another competitor. So, and what format they should follow, that also they have to, whether they should set up few medium size stores or one very large size store, that they have to decide. So, to decide all of this, one of the interesting measure is what is known as index of retail saturation or IRS. So, IRS is represented, IRS is equal to C into RE by RF, where RE is retail expenditure is equal to average expenditure per person for your product, the product that you are looking at in that trading area. So, like we were talking about Gachibowli or New Godia area. So, RE will be the retail expenditure say for powder milk, the average expenditure per person for that powder milk product line in that trading area. And RF is equal to the retail facilities, that is the total square feet of selling space already allocated to the related products in that trading area. So, basically therefore, expenditure per square feet multiplied by the number of customers in that trading area gives us some kind of a retail saturation. So, the higher this number, that means there is a higher concentration or saturation. So, and so whether what opportunity you have for what category in which location, you can determine by looking at this index of retail saturation. So, this is a very good guide for location as well as layout and stocking decision. The other interesting formula I would like to introduce to you is called the law of retail gravitation. So, if you have demand patterns across a geography from various places, and just like in many other areas like warehouse location or location of a bus depot or location of a taxi stand, all these can be determined by this kind of what we call the gravitational model. So, here what we do is to do the retail gravitation analysis, we say BP is equal to D divided by 1 plus square root of PB by PA, where BP is the distance in miles or kilometers from location A to the break point, that means where we are looking at that possible location, and D is the distance between location A and B. There are two already different demand centers, and PA is the population surrounding location A and PB is the population surrounding location B. So, this will allow us, we know that this whole area from New Godia on eastern metropolitan bypass of Calcutta, southern fringe of the city up to say the Godia Hat, Kashba, Ruby Hospital, that zone is a very promising zone. As we were discussing, many corporate entities or many high rises are being located there. So, Rayleigh's law of retail gravitation, this formula BP is equal to D divided by 1 plus square root of PB by PA, given these explanations of these various terms, it will tell us that if within a particular city area we want to pinpoint the location of our retail outlet, then using this basically population surrounding different locations and using this gravitational model, we can decide upon the exact pinpoint the exact location which will be most beneficial, and these are very useful practical mathematical models for retail marketing management. And of course, we have to look at retail compatibility. That means, for example, if you are going to set up a retail outlet for high end watches, then you have to carefully decide that whether you should set up such a retail outlet in this New Godia area, or the total aggregated demand for these watches which where each unit may be priced at 50,000-80,000 rupees. Maybe the whole of Calcutta can have only 3 such locations where will be enough to satisfy the entire demand coming from the different parts of the city. And for such high end items, often people will be prepared to travel distances. So, you do not have to decide in your retail location based on that the proximity or the convenience of travel. People will be prepared to travel for this kind of specialty items. So, the compatibility with respect to whether it is a specialty item, whether it is a convenience item, these are to be considered, and we have to also see that index of retail saturation, which we discussed a little while back, and the degree of competition. So, these are the trade area sizes, transportation network, and of course, as we discussed, physical, socio-political or emotional barriers. Emotional barriers are also important because, for example, in supermarkets when packaged food are sold, then normally many stores, the western format particularly, will have both non-vegetarian as well as vegetarian items. The cold storage part of the store will have cheese and milk products, etc., vegetarian items, but they may also have chicken and egg and frozen meat and other items in the same area. Because of technical reasons, in the cold storage area all these can coexist, but that emotionally may not be acceptable in some areas in India where population are predominantly vegetarian and they are sensitive to this, they do not want to see non-vegetarian items basically when they go for their shopping. So, in Gujarat therefore, you may have to decide your retail merchandising and shelf planning based on these kind of emotional or cultural reasoning. So, locations and layout have to take into consideration scientific principles, but they can also, they have to take into this kind of social or emotional reasonings into account. Okay. Trade area sizes, traffic, customer traffic at different times of the week, weekend traffic, during the day, adequate parking, reputation of the area from safety point of view, from pickpockets and stuff like that, and some room for expansion, visibility. These are all also important considerations when you are deciding upon a new retail location in a city, within a state, within a region. And so, the location options are like city centers or central business districts as they are often called, or neighborhood locations, that mean multiple locations, small format stores, or shopping malls, which can be small size malls, neighborhood malls, or it can be large size malls where people will travel to. So, these are the various things that are to be considered when you are doing your retail location. Also interestingly, now certain type of retail outlets are coming together and they are giving some theme to their outlet, this shopping center or the mall, based on fun and outing. So, for example, in many cities in India today, the malls which mainly cater to very high end luxury brands, to attract footfall into those malls, they have set up food courts or eating joints or fun and game joints, where there are different income level people can walk in. So, here we know that out of 100 people who may walk into the store, maybe only one will buy, but we do want that 100 people to come in, because many times such purchases are aspirational purchases or impulse purchases or occasion purchases. If somebody is going to propose, the person may suddenly decide to buy a high end ring from a branded jewelry store, and that at that point of time, that person must know where this is available. To create that knowledge in the customer's mind, you have to attract customers into these malls, for which actually you may create different kind of fun and game opportunities and so on. So, these theme based malls and primarily fun and outing and food and entertainment are becoming quite a norm. The other interesting format of retail outlet location are these factory outlet centers. These are normally where manufacturers and retailers high end name brands are sold at a discount, and often you will see these are located near the airport or some near the city as you are approaching the city. So, they have usually a highway location where lot of parking is available, lot of space is available, and it is an attractive location which catches the eye, but it may not be in the city center. Normally it will not be in the city center or within the business district. This will be out in the outlying areas, and people will travel there because of this attraction of getting a deal, getting a big discount on a high end name brand. So, and then there are lifestyle centers. So, another interesting thing, particularly in the context of India, is this location decision near competitors or away from competitors. This is a how people decide, because you will find in many cities all jewelers are located in the same area, even though they are competing with each other, because they do want people to know if you need jewelry, this is where you go. Whereas some other shops like say high end shoes, they may try to find a location which is where the competitive intensity is less. Ultimately decisions will have to be made using that retail saturation index that we discussed. And the other concluding part of this today's discussion of this location is layout. So, layout is the logical arrangement of physical facilities of a business, a retail outlet, and layout is also subject to very interesting studies. That other interest point in case of layout is that layout is important not only from the customer's perspective, but also from the employee's perspective. It has been found in the retail industry that those outlets where the layout is spacious and gives a feeling of controlled comfort, the employee retention becomes easier. So, look and feel of the workspace is important from the employee's perspective, and of course, it is important from the customer's perspective, because that creates the store ambience. So, layout, the external factors are size must be adequate to accommodate the business needs, appearances must create the proper image or personality for the business in the customer's eyes. So, the layout of a high end Swiss watch store will be quite different from the layout of say a shoe shop. So, there are certain characteristic layout because the way you are building the interior and you are doing the layout will create the personality of the store, which must synchronize with the personality of the items. So, ergonomics is an integral part of this design. Proper layout and design will be very important. Use of natural light, for example, has been seen, it increases retail sales. So, all these lot of studies have been made, and all these are normally integrated in the interior decoration, interior layout decisions for retail outlets. So, even careful colors, different color schemes, if you carefully observe, most of the high end retail outlets very craftily use bright colors, sober colors, wild colors or some very gaudy colors, depending on that the particular merchandising in that particular. So, within the same retail outlet, a multi-storied large retail outlet of say Big Bazaar or Shoppers Stop or Spencer's, you will see different color schemes at play. 3 retail outlet patterns, usually the most most used pattern is the grid pattern, where you have rectangular with parallel aisles, and so this is actually, you can also give a logical layout interrelationships which you found from the shopping pattern of people, and it allows us to map the traffic flow and accordingly do the aisle design. And this grid pattern is the most used pattern because it efficiently uses the selling space. So, supermarkets and self-service discount stores, they all use the grid. Then the other thing is free form. This is a little bit more informal, friendly. So, shoe shops or ladies garment shops often use this kind of informal layout, where there will be some logic, but it will not be as that grid logic, and they may be changing the assortments. There may be some places where actually items are in heaped, and there are some where they are very neatly stacked, and they will be intermixed because to give that informal feel. So, when you want to create a flash sale, there may be suddenly a place where there will be many items which are heaped. And then there are small specialty shops or boutiques, and this is another kind of where actually items will be brought out from inside or from stacks by the shopping assistants, because these are highly attended shops usually. So, to conclude, you should know your customers' buying habits and plan your layout accordingly. Display the merchandise as attractively as your budget will allow, and display complementary items together. These you can find by analyzing in real time the shopper's movement and the point of sale data with respect to which items were bought in conjunction with which items and so on. So, in fact, there is that famous study where it was found that at weekends you should have the baby diapers closer to places where you can buy beer or other drinks, because people just drop in and buy the weekend stock for these items so that they do not have to come out. So, young fathers, they do the shopping, and so even though they normally you will normally not think of any correlation between baby diapers and soft drinks, but it was found through careful analysis that that is a shopping pattern. So, they were co-located, but that co-location changes after the weekend. So, this kind of dynamic rearrangement of the layout are done today based on the analytics of the real time sales data. Ultimately, the whole idea is that you should optimize your return from the floor space, from the shelf space, and all your measures with respect to retail performance will be on the basis of per square feet. Per square feet, per shelves will be, you have to maximize the turnover, because that will in a way factor in all your expenses on real estate, all your expenses on utilities, light, air conditioning and everything. So, that sort of concludes our discussion on retailing, channel partners, distribution channels, merchandising and store location, store layout and so on. Next set of discussions will be on integrated marketing communication. See you tomorrow. Thank you.